Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Ram. Before we get started, a couple things I want to talk about. You can just skip this if you don't want to hear it. There'll be like a thing on the screen that says, click here, or, well, not click here, but just skip to this time. So, basically, I've been doing alright, but busy lately. Although it's kind of hard to tell because part of my quote-unquote busyness has also been like spending a lot of time kind of hanging out and just not getting as much done as I used to. And I'm kind of trying to find myself right now. And what is my computer doing? Okay, that was weird. It acted like it was going to do something for a moment. Um, it's really hard to figure out exactly where I am right now for me because you know, got out of a long-term relationship, felt very bad about that, and kind of stumbled into another relationship really quickly by accident. And so it's kind of like I don't quite know where I am, but I think I'm alright. It's just, I still miss my ex, and I love her, and it sucks, but eh. Besides the relationship stuff, though, where was I gonna go with this? Essentially, I just things where it's a new semester of school. I'm trying to be a better student than I always was, and it's very difficult, especially when you have terrible habits, trying to change them. But here's hoping for the best. Oh, and I am taking a driving test tomorrow morning, so that should be fun. I am slightly nervous about that. Anyhow, Kerbal Space. So, Kerbal X, they made a mod so that you can upload your craft from within the game, which is pretty awesome, and is how I uploaded the craft that we'll be taking a look at today. Also, for anyone wondering about plane reviews, I hope to be getting back to that pretty soon. Probably not today. Yeah, I just don't have the time today, but I will be working on it. So you might remember I made an FA-18 with a couple different variants, including one that was long range unarmed. And this is essentially it in KSP 1.2.2. There have been some minor modifications to the overall body structure, very slightly, mostly to do with the settings on the flaps and the whatchamacallit, stabilizers. Let's see, the control authority has been adjusted on various things. And let's see, what else has been done? Has anything else major been done? Oh yeah, some more action groups have been set up, and we have, of course, flare and chaff dispensers. And you might have noticed that the drop tanks underneath, that we have one with a grappling hook on there. And essentially the idea is that this is the system that an FA-18 would actually use for refueling. At least it's similar. It's my own version of it in KSP. Oh yeah, and we have a gun hidden in here. I forget if that was there or not, but I'm just proud of myself how I did that, so that it looks like there's a gun barrel pointing out, even though there isn't. I like that. And yeah, so it has the I think they called it like the buddy fueling system or something. I don't know. I don't remember, but FA-18s, you can have one of them refuel others, and so like what they would do is, if I remember correctly, they would take 4 FA-18s on a mission. One of them would just have refueling stuff. It would refuel the other 3 with its 3 tanks, and then it would return to base while the other 3 continued on. They have, the weapons and actually attack something, and then return. And yeah, so let's go ahead and launch it. And I will show you that it has flaps, which, oh yes, it also has brakes, air brakes, which you'll notice that, I forget if both of these are deployed or just one. Nope, both of them are deployed. So you'll notice that these both go down very slightly. The inside one goes down very slightly more. This goes down, and the vertical stabilizers both go inwards a bit. So that is the air brake position. And then if we engage flaps, you'll see that this also goes down. If I didn't have the brakes on, these would still be down. This is, of course, the flap configuration for the wings. And yeah. Oh yeah, so the biggest cheat in here is that we have two clipped tiny air intakes in here. Those are partially to get more airflow on the ground when not moving, and they are also partially there because, what's it called? I'm trying to think what it's called right now. They're also there so that if you're pulling up at high speeds, the engines don't just stall out, which is a problem that this design has had. So this version, being the unarmed version, has no ammo on it, no weapons. And yeah, let's just get going. Disengage that, which for some reason disengages this flap. I guess just a side effect of how that works. Now, unfortunately, it is rather difficult to take off with, and you have to be very careful going down the runway, and you'll probably end up going off the side of the runway a little bit like this, but it does take off. Doesn't fly that well with the flaps down, which is not surprising. And so let's go ahead and disengage the flaps. And once you have the flaps off, though, it usually flies all right. It's not completely stable, so like I'm going to disengage the SAS, and it should start to, yeah, it's going to go to the right a little bit because there's slightly more drag on the right. Actually, you know, let's go ahead and re-engage those, but disengage the turbojets. And what was I going to say next? So this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead and hit the brakes, slow us down a little bit more. F12 shows that, yes, the air brakes are effective. You know, there's not that much air braking, but there is air braking. I like how we got a little side to side going on here as it's trying to correct for that. That's interesting. Yeah, it does not like what I was doing. In any case, drop tanks. This one is not the one that's used first. Oh yeah, it's the bottom one is used first. So you can see we got these three tanks slowly draining, and then that decouples. And then after that, it uses this tank, or these tanks, and you'll see that it's draining from just that side, this side, not touched, and then you can drop that one. And then this is where it's slightly, it gets a little bit more difficult to fly because of the asymmetric payload, but it's not too bad. It flies surprisingly well with just one on here. You gotta roll a bit harder than you'd think. Well, you gotta roll a bit harder than not rolling at all to compensate for that. And then of course that can be dropped away. And we'll go ahead and re-engage the, whoops, I accidentally enabled the flaps when I meant to turn on the turbojets. And right now I think I'm gonna go, should I go land it back at the KSC or at the island runway? Back at the KSC. And so we'll just go ahead and put that on the nose, and we're gonna get going quite fast here. Oh yeah, going this fast is a perfect opportunity to demonstrate that the engines will not stall when you pull up and do an extreme maneuver like that. So that's good. I also removed the thing. I used to have these decouplers enabled on the old version and a little chute here, but I didn't like having that chute there because it wasn't really realistic, and I didn't like having these decouplable because that wasn't very nice either, because it's like you can decouple two of them but not all of them. I didn't like the asymmetry of being able to decouple some of them but not all of them, so that's something I took off. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and throttle everything down quite a bit. Maybe a bit too soon, but not bad. I'm just gonna take a drink. Still too much speed, so I did some maneuvering to kill some speed. Let's go ahead and use air brakes a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and throttle up. Oh, shit! I was closer to the ground than I thought I was. Oops. Okay, let's go ahead and enable the brakes. Let's just leave all these behind. Yep, okay, there you go. And I suppose I should enable the flaps. I don't really need to, but, whoops. Hello, tower. Whoa, we're gonna hit it. Okay, time to leave the thing. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Yep. Oh, we took out the SPH. So now let's look at the armed version, which is simply has the ammo box full, some weapons, obviously, as it is armed, and it has the FLIR targeting ball on the front of this pod. So in this one, you don't necessarily want to drop your last pod. I mean, you still can if you need to, but it's probably not something you actually want to drop. And so we got a little rocket pod on this side, which is barely has enough clearance. I had to move it a little to get that clearance. By move it, I mean move this vertically. I didn't move the pylons or anything. Then we got some, what do you call these again? Mavericks. Yes, Mavericks. So 2 Hellfires, a little unguided bomb, and Sidewinders for defense from air targets. And of course the whole thing still has the drop tanks. This time I'm going to take off without flaps, just because it can be done. And also because I'm slightly curious if it is more stable on the runway without doing that or not. I did slightly turn to the side there. This thing should be able to take off on its own, like, you know, lift up on its own on the runway, but apparently not. Oh, there we go. Yeah, just barely. Yeah. I think it could do the same with flaps, but I'm not 100% sure because I've never taken off with just flaps with that, like that. Alright, so the other thing I want to show real quick is, let's go ahead and put this in locked cam. So what I'm going to show you now is that there is, just look at the wing here, there is a slight, right here, this is acting on the roll commands, so we do have slightly extra roll authority on the wings. Very slight, but it's a thing. Okay, you need to go up, up, not crash. And then you'll also notice as I'm doing these little maneuvers that this also responds to pitch commands. So yeah, I just thought it was I thought it would be fun to kind of mimic the F-18 a little bit more by having it actually have the wing make adjustments quote unquote automatically, because the real thing does that. Although the real thing, I think it primarily just makes adjustments to the flaps. I don't think it really does much with the front. I think it probably does a little, you know, it would have to, but I don't know how much. So, yep. Alright, let's go ahead and drop these. And oops, there went our targeting ball. Oh well, fire the Mavericks. Those were not Mavericks, those were Hellfires. Okay. Sidewinders, rocket pod. Oh, no sound on firing now. Oh, there we go, some of them back. Then we have the Mavericks finally. Oh no, that was the Mark 82. What am I thinking? Now we have the Mavericks and the Vulcan. Yep. And let's go ahead and turn on the turbos and pull up very hard for no reason. So yeah, that's the FA-18. Updated for 1.2.2. I don't know if I'll pull out of this in time. I will. Okay. Yes. So, as a final thing, as I'm going, I want to show off very quickly the Kerbal X mod to upload the armed version of this, since I had already uploaded the unarmed version. So we will go do that, and then I will bid you adieu. Sorry, this is just surprisingly fun doing the little barrel rolls. So the Kerbal X thing, click the little button down here. It's like, hey, would you like to enter details about this craft or update an existing craft? Then it asks you to give it the name. Oops. Pressing update will update this craft on... I do not want to update. I'm gonna say, no, don't select a craft. I don't want to select a craft. Thank you. I don't want to select a craft. Ay. No, I don't want to... Oh, upload this as a new craft. There we go. I'm gonna say 1.2, 1.2.2 because, and this is a replica fighter. Replica fighter. What else should I put on it? I don't know. BD armory. There we go. It is an aircraft. I can edit the description, which will just put that part. Oh, closing this also saves the craft. Oh. Oh, that's just great. Cause I wanted to change the description on Kerbal X, so I took out the action group info on the description and put it into Kerbal X's action group info, and it actually deleted the description on the craft itself. Okay, I am very much not happy with that. Not happy with that. Otherwise, I'm really happy with this, but I am not happy with that. That was annoying. That is very annoying. Alright, well, I know that 1 fires the weapon. Was it 1 that fires weapon? No, 1 is next weapon. Next weapon, then we have fire weapon, which is for both missile and gun hold. Then action group 3 was countermeasures. I spelled countermeasures wrong. Countermeasures. Then we have flares only, chaff only. Then we skip 1. Then we have toggle grappling hook, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Toggle basic jets. Toggle turbo jets. And then we have toggle flaps. And then I like to put has air braking under brakes. So there we go, action groups. And then we could add pictures, which I don't have any for this specifically, so I'm going to say add pictures, and then you can actually, so you can see I already have 2 screenshots in here. I can also say take a screenshot now, which will be used. Wait, where is it? This one that I just took. And I can, let's see, let's take another screenshot from, I don't know, right here? Yeah, why not? Take a screenshot, and then we'll use that as our second one. And close that, and you can see they're here, and we can remove them if we want to. And now, uploading. So yeah, that's the Kerbal X mod. Thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you in space. Huh, it didn't do that to this one.